Hi guys, welcome to Smart Desk. Hope you're all doing well. Today we'll be learning about chapter 2, that is microorganisms, friend and foe. In this chapter we will learn about what are the type of microorganisms, firstly what are microorganisms, then their types, okay, and in what way they are acting as a friend and in what ways they are acting as a foe. Foe means they are harmful to us. So first we are looking into what are microorganisms. Microorganisms are living creatures very minute in size. Only few of them can be seen with human eye, while most of them are only seen under a microscope. Okay? Microorganisms act in two ways. They are either harmful or useful to animals or to other living creatures. You might have seen that when you keep a piece of bread, uh, mainly in rainy season, you keep it outside. Then, after few days, you see the surface of the bread being spoiled. Okay, it may be coated with a grayish white patch. So, what is that? That is actually damaged. The surface is actually damaged by microorganisms. Specifically, that microorganism is fungus over there. Okay, so there are different type of microorganisms found in different places at different temperatures. Okay, generally microorganisms are classified into four major groups, that is bacteria, fungi, protozoa and some algae. There is also another kind of microorganism, and that is virus. Virus are microscopic, but outside a host, that is outside a living body, a virus is of no use. But when a virus is inside a living body, it creates massacre. It is very harmful to the living body where it enters. It causes diseases like cold, influenza, okay, and maybe sometimes of coughs. And in the present time, COVID-19 is the biggest threat to mankind. Now, there are different diseases that are caused by different microorganisms, which I think already you have discussed in your previous classes. So, we will move forward in this chapter. In the next slide, you see the pictures of different types of microorganisms, like the spiral bacteria. They are, you can say, spring shaped, okay, usually seen under a microscope. Next is rod shaped bacteria, means they are cylindrical shaped bacteria, as you can see in the picture. And there are more pictures of some algae like Spirogyra, then protozoa like amoeba, then bread mold, as I've told you that in rainy season when you place a piece of bread outside, then these bread molds grow. And there are lots like penicillium, aspergillus, okay, etc. Yeah, next the virus. So virus are found in nature of different shapes of different types. Okay, you can see a picture that is given of two different viruses. Okay, now the next thing which tells us is, where do microorganisms live? Okay, for that we need to know something about microorganisms. Now microorganisms may be two types. One is single celled like bacteria or protozoa, and multicellular such as algae and fungi. Now they can survive under all types of environment, like all types of temperatures, all types of moisture content in the air. Okay, at any places they can live. In from ice cold climates to hot spring and desert to the marshy lands, they can survive under all circumstances. Okay, now You may have also noticed that wherever a dead body is kept, a foul smell comes. That is actually microorganisms decomposing the body, and thus they release foul smell. Okay. Now, microorganisms like amoeba can live alone. Okay. While fungi and bacteria live in colonies. They live in herds. Okay. They live in a group. Okay. So now, first let us study the friendly nature of microorganisms. So, we use microorganisms for the production of alcohol. Okay. For preparing alcohol, we mostly use, maybe you have heard the name yeast. Okay. So yeast and sugar, okay, maybe we use in the form of jaggery. Okay, this gives to the production of alcohol. Okay. So production of alcohol is one use of microorganisms. Next, microorganisms help cleaning up the environment. As I've told you that whenever a rotten dead body is kept somewhere, so microorganisms act on that body, they decompose the body, and they clean up the environment like this. Okay, because they break down that body into some harmless and usable substances that can be used by, can say, plants, it can be used by other bacterias. Okay, so in this way, like, it can be used in agriculture for increasing the soil fertility. Another use in agricultural sector of microorganism is fixing atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, we'll come into it later on in this chapter, but for now, just remember the points that in agriculture, it can be used to increase the soil fertility because microorganisms decompose the dead bodies into manure, and another use is they fix the atmospheric nitrogen to increase the soil fertility. The next friendly nature of microorganisms is that, so milk is turned into curd by the action of bacteria. Okay, this is due to the presence of lactobacillus bacteria, which is present in milk, that changes milk into curd. Okay, when it is satisfying some conditions. Okay, so bacteria are also involved in the making of cheese, pickles, and other food items. Okay, so these are some friendly natures of microorganisms. Yeah, also you may be seen in your day-to-day life that when maida is mixed with yeast powder and water, and after some time the maida just gets very fluffy. Okay, it gets pumped up. Yes, yeast reproduces rapidly, and that produces carbon dioxide during the respiration. So bubbles of the gas fill up the dough and increase its volume. That is why this process is used in bread making. Okay, so these are some basic uses of microorganisms. Now we will learn some commercial use of microorganisms. So as I've told you that microorganisms help in the production of alcohol, wine, and vinegar. You can also say that yeast is also used for commercial production of alcohol and wine, and also for selling the bakeries like bread, cakes, pastries, etc. So now, next, the term that comes to us is fermentation. What is fermentation? The process of conversion of sugar into alcohol is known as fermentation. So fermentation process is used while producing alcohol. After the commercial use of microorganisms, we will now learn the medicinal use of microorganisms. Okay, so we'll come across antibiotics. What are antibiotics? Now, antibiotics are some medicines, okay? The source of these medicines is microorganisms. What they do is these medicines actually kill or stop the growth of disease causing microorganisms. So that is why they are called as antibiotics. For example, you can say streptomycin, tetracycline, and etc. There are many more. Now, uh, these medicines are made for humans, and also we add antibiotics to our cattle, or you can say the livestock animals or poultry birds, okay, for avoiding their microbial infections. Now, we have came across antibiotics, and now another term very similar to antibiotics is antibodies. What are antibodies? Now, when a disease carrying microbe enters our body, the body produces antibodies to fight the invader. Means the body gets ready. Okay, that suppose I give you the example. Suppose in a war, when the enemy is approaching a king, okay, so the king also gets his army ready. That yes, we will fight the enemy. So similarly, when the body is getting some information that a disease has attacked the body, so the body releases the antibodies, okay, to fight the diseases, and that is what we actually call as the immunity. Okay, so we also use vaccines to increase our immunity and get protected from the disease causing microbes. Yes, it is very essential that children are most viable, okay, to effect of disease causing microbes. They mostly get affected due to their low immunity, low antibodies. Okay, so you need to make it in point. The next, as I've told you that microorganisms are used in increasing the soil fertility, okay, to enrich the soil with nitrogen and manure to the soil. Next, uh, microorganisms also help in cleaning the environment. Okay, they decompose the dead bodies into very harmless small particles that can act as manure and increase the soil fertility. Okay, now here a question might come to you that how microorganisms clean up the environment. So we have identified a question that can come out from here, and the answer is marked. You can just read it out, and you can just ask any doubt from this section in the comment section below. So these are all friendly nature of microorganisms. Next, we are going to study about the harmful effects of microorganisms in the way microorganisms act as a foe. Okay, and the main disadvantage of microorganisms is they cause diseases. Okay, so disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens. Okay, they also spoil food, spoil our clothing, everything. Now, pathogens may enter our body maybe through the air we breathe, maybe through the water we drink, or the food we eat. Now, here we have two types of diseases. First is communicable diseases, means the microbial diseases that can be spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, or food, or maybe the physical contact. As you have seen in COVID-19, it is strictly mandated that you should maintain social distancing, wear masks, and sanitize your hands because it is a communicable disease. So please stay very careful. Another is non-communicable diseases that do not spread through direct contact, air, water, or food. Now, we might be most common with the population of mosquitoes in our homes, right? We use different products like Mortein, Good Night, Odomos to prevent mosquitoes. Yes, that is essential. Why? Because mosquitoes carry diseases in them. Okay? For examples, female Anopheles mosquito carries the parasite of malaria, and female Aedes mosquito acts as the carrier of dengue. So please prevent mosquitoes to stay healthy in your home. It is very essential to prevent the mosquitoes or even the flies that prevail or that are found in the corners of our house. Okay, the mosquitoes they generally breed in water. Okay, so we should ensure that nowhere water gets collected somewhere. So we should keep our surroundings clean and prevent mosquitoes from breeding. In the chart, you will find out that some common human diseases caused by microorganisms. So we have countered that question might come in this way. It will tell you like, what is the name of the disease caused by the bacteria? Or it may ask you, who is the microorganisms that cause tuberculosis? Or in what way does it get spread? Or how it gets spread? And lastly, mention the prevention or the preventive measure that can be taken in the case of chickenpox. Okay, in this way, question can be encountered from here, so you need to learn it very nicely. So that was about human beings. Now this is about the plant diseases. Here also the same type of questions, that is name, who, how, and prevent. Okay, so now another thing, a bad thing, what microorganisms do is food poisoning. They spoil the foods. Even like food poisoning could be due to the consumption of food by some microorganisms, like they grow on the surface and produce toxic substances that are harmful for our body. They cause serious illness and maybe even death. So please be very careful. So we have some process when we preserve the food, means we are protecting the food from the microorganisms growing on it. First is chemical method, like we add salts and edibles oil, which are also known as preservatives. The next is preservation by common salt, like in the case of meat, fish, or you can say we add common salt to preserve it for a long time. Preservation by sugar, jams and jellies like squashes are preserved by sugar. Okay, so sugar reduces the moisture content. So if you reduce the moisture content, the microorganisms can't grow so easily. Next is preservation by oil and vinegar. So similarly, we can also add oil or vinegar to prevent spoilage. Maybe you can see the example of pickles. Okay, we eat maybe. So pickles are a good example over here. Heat and cold treatments. Okay, this is a really good process that is used to preserve milk, and the process is called pasteurization. Okay, so pasteurization question is surely going to come, that how is pasteurization going to be done or why it is needed. So for milk, like milk is heated to about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. Okay, so by doing this, we will prevent the growth of microbes. First, we'll boil the milk. Okay, and after boiling the milk, we'll just chill it. Okay, we'll freeze it to make the milk fully free of any microbes. This process is called pasteurization. And the last is storage and packing. So we can even pack the dry fruits, even vegetables are maybe you have seen sold in the market in sealed airtight packets. Okay, so that microorganisms don't grow in it. Yeah, so as I've told you, we'll learn nitrogen fixation in the chapter later on. So here is that. So it is mainly due to the rhizobium that are present in the root nodules. Maybe you have learned it in class 6 and 7. So it is involved in the fixation of nitrogen in leguminous plants, like you can say peas. Okay. So rhizobium lives in the root nodules of leguminous plants, as I've told you, of beans. Okay, even like peas. Okay, so they fix the nitrogen present in the soil and give nutrition to the plants. Also, they help in fixation of atmospheric nitrogen, that during lightning, okay, they can fix the nitrogen and help in the soil fertility. Okay, so certain bacteria and another type of algae, which is called blue-green algae, present in the soil, they fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into compounds of nitrogen, which can be used by the roots of the plants for their nutrition. Now here is the nitrogen cycle, means how the proportion of nitrogen keeps constant in the atmosphere. Okay, so here also a question might come, that is, explain the process of nitrogen fixation, or even it may come that draw the nitrogen cycle. So here is the process of nitrogen cycle, that is, when plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert the nitrogenous waste into nitrogenous compounds, which can be used by the plants again. So certain other bacteria also convert some part of the nitrogen gas, which goes back to the atmosphere. So as a result, the percentage of nitrogen remains constant in the atmosphere. Okay. So this was all about the chapter. You can go through the keywords and what you have learned sections. So we have marked various paragraphs, various points. You can see tick marks, you can see double lines, you can see curly brackets. So those are very important. You can just go through that to summarize your chapter in a very short time. Hope you liked the video. So we'll meet again in the next video. Till then, stay tuned. Thanks for watching.